They say funerals bring families together. But for me, the night after my father's funeral was when my family tore everything apart. I thought I was about to step into adulthood with hope. Instead, I was robbed by the very people who claimed to love me. My name is Rachel Carter. I'm a wife, a mom, and a successful small business owner now, but trust me, it wasn't always this way. Before the peace, there was chaos. Before the strength, there was betrayal. And it all started the night after my father's funeral. I was 19, still trying to make sense of the world, grieving the man who'd raised me on his own. I thought we'd finally have time to talk about my future, college, and the bookstore we always dreamed of opening together. But death doesn't wait for plans. And what came next? I never could have imagined. We had just buried my dad that morning. The sky was still gray, and my suit still smelled like rain when my Aunt Denise asked to speak with me privately in the den. Denise was my father's younger sister, and after my mom died when I was little, she was like a second mother to me. Or so I thought. She sat down across from me, sipping tea like we weren't in mourning. "Rachel," she began, almost too gently. "I know this is a hard time, but your father's affairs need to be handled, and there are some things you need to know." My heart pounded. I thought maybe she was going to tell me he left me something special, maybe a letter, a piece of advice, or the keys to our bookstore dream. Instead, she handed me an envelope and said flatly, "This is the revised will. Your father changed it a few months before he passed." I blinked, confused. "What do you mean revised?" She avoided my eyes and continued, "The trust he had set aside for your college, he redirected it. To me. For the house, for upkeep, for family needs." My mouth went dry. That trust was for my education. He told me that himself. Why would he change it? Denise's face stayed calm, even condescending. "Rachel, you were always more artistic. He worried college might not be the right path. He thought I'd know how to use the money wisely." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He wouldn't do that. Not without telling me. Then she said it, the sentence I'll never forget. "Well, you know how sick he was at the end. He wasn't thinking clearly." My heart shattered. She was rewriting the narrative of the man I knew better than anyone. My dad wasn't confused, he was meticulous. He planned everything. But the real stab came next. "My son Tyler," she said, "has been accepted into a business program. He's going to do great things. Your father would have wanted to support that." Tyler. Her arrogant, freeloading son who had barely graduated high school. I stood up, shaking. "So you're just taking it? The trust he built for me? Just giving it to Tyler?" Denise sighed and said, "This is a hard world, Rachel. Sometimes you just have to adapt. You'll figure something out." I left that house that night with nothing but a backpack and my father's old journal. Legally, there was nothing I could do. Denise had power of attorney toward the end, and the paperwork seemed airtight. I couldn't prove she manipulated him, and there was no letter, no backup will, nothing to fight with. Just grief and betrayal. I moved into a friend's basement and got a job waitressing. At night, I read my dad's journal. He wrote about his regrets, about how proud he was of me, about our bookstore dream. Every word lit a fire in my heart. I enrolled in a community college using what little I'd saved from my summer jobs. It wasn't enough to cover full tuition, so I took night classes and stacked shifts. I was exhausted every day. There were nights I fell asleep still wearing my apron. But I had a goal, and I had rage. Denise and Tyler were living comfortably. I heard through mutual friends that she renovated her kitchen using part of the trust. Tyler posted selfies with new watches and used hashtags like #YoungCEO and #Hustle. I wanted to scream. The next year was pure grind. I started freelancing as a copywriter on the side, using skills I didn't even know I had. My English professor connected me to a local startup that needed part-time help with branding. It paid just enough for me to quit the restaurant job. That moment felt like breathing after drowning. Meanwhile, Denise and Tyler hosted cocktail parties. One friend told me they were introducing Tyler as a young entrepreneur investing in tech and property. I rolled my eyes. The kid could barely manage a group project, let alone a company. Then came the breaking point, Thanksgiving. Against my better judgment, I went to Denise's house. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd show some remorse. Instead, I walked into a room full of polished strangers and fake smiles. Tyler was bragging about his new business venture, which I later learned was a failed app idea that had burned through thousands of dollars. During dinner, someone asked what I was doing now. Before I could answer, Denise jumped in. "Oh, Rachel? She's doing some writing thing, right? Just part-time. But she's figuring it out." The pity in her voice made my skin crawl. Tyler added, "Yeah, not everyone's cut out for the real world." He smirked, raising his wine glass like he'd just won some unspoken war. I didn't respond. I didn't cry. I just smiled and said, "Don't worry about me. You'll be hearing about me soon enough." I used every ounce of anger to fuel my next steps. I doubled down on freelancing, built a website, and started a blog sharing my journey. The blog caught fire, people resonated with my raw honesty. Within months, I had regular clients and enough traction to launch a branding business. It took time. Years, even. But slowly, my name spread. I worked with startups, authors, and local businesses. I saved. I built credit. And finally, I bought a tiny storefront and opened the bookstore my dad and I dreamed of. The week before the bookstore's grand opening, guess who walked through the door? Denise. She looked around, stunned. This is yours?" "Yes," I said, stacking a shelf. She gave that same patronizing smile. "Well, I'm happy you found your path. Tyler's business went under last year, and things have been difficult. We've been considering selling the house." I nodded, pretending to care. Then came the kicker. "We were wondering if you might want to invest. Help the family." "Family?" I looked her dead in the eye. "That trust fund was my investment. You already spent it." She tried to laugh. "Rachel, don't hold on to the past." But I cut her off. "I'm not holding on. I'm moving forward. Alone." She left without another word.